Wizards Postgame Live.
You got to go back to 1961. That's the first time the Lakers and, at the time, Bullets played against each other. Now the 200th meeting of the Wizards and Lakers came down to the wire. Kyle Kuzma with the last-second three-point shot that could not go in, leading to the final score of 119-117. The Wizards take the loss in Los Angeles. Second night of back-to-back. Of course, Clippers last night and now the Lakers tonight. Here we are in Postgame Live. West Hall with Christy Winters. Scott Christy obviously will be joined by Chris, Drew, and Megan here in a moment.
Right.
That one,
man, listen.
It was
right there.
This close.
Get the sweat beads off my forehead.
Great stats, as I mentioned earlier. Two of our big three in double-double fashion. Bradley Beal, his first game back, gives you 29. What was your overall assessment of the team's entire performance tonight?
I mean, it was a great fight. It was great to have Bradley Beal back. It was a great adjustment by Washington to reinsert Bradley Beal into the lineup. He was fantastic, especially in the second half. Made some big go-to shots they wanted from him down the stretch there. But when it came down to it, looking at the stats, everything is pretty much even except for the three-point shooting. LA shot 40% from three. Washington shot 26% from behind the line, and that was the difference in the game. 10 of 39 for the Wizards tonight from three. And they were getting good shots. It wasn't that they were taking contested threes. They just didn't fall for them. But for me, I love the fight that the Wizards had, especially in that fourth quarter. They had a 20-3 run at the end of three. An 11-0 run was part of that. They showed a lot of heart and guts, especially on the defensive end. And that's what it takes to gain traction. That's what it takes to continue to build. And this is a team in Washington that you can count on players like Daniel Gafford to come out there and really impact the game in a positive way. He was dominating in the painted area. Washington did a good job getting into the paint. 58 paint points for the Wizards. They only gave up 66.
Yeah.
And that is just, they had 72 last time.
Sure.
The Lakers had 72 paint points the last time these two teams played. So they did a better job of containing the paint. But I love the moxie of this team. I love the confidence of this team. And it's just going to take a matter of time for them to get over the hump and have it turn into wins, because the effort and the focus is there. You just got to drop those threes in a little bit. If you're going to take 39, you got to shoot them at a higher clip than 26.
Indeed, looking at Bradley Beal's stats, you see him on the screen tonight. 29 points, 9 for 17 from the field. Did a lot of work with the charity stripe, hitting 11 of 13. Gave you 2 boards and 3 dimes on a night, to your point, where his three ball wasn't falling.
Right.
He was 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Yeah. And you have to say, first of all, bravo performance, Brad.
Yeah.
Coming back after dealing with a hamstring strain. December 4th was the last time he was on the court. Here he is tonight against them. 29 points. And what I liked about what I saw was in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Especially in that third quarter, too. Like, the lights came on for Brad, where it's like, all right, this is my time. It's time for me to take over. It just didn't go our way tonight, Christy.
Right.
And so looking at how he and Porzingis and Kuz got together, what do you think about their combined performance?
Well, you know, it looked like Kristaps Porzingis came alive, too, in the second half when he started knocking in a couple of threes, got the momentum going for the team. But I really liked the way he was forceful on the glass, and Washington did a tremendous job getting to the second chance points. They got to the offensive boards. I think they had more than 10 in that area. So for Kristaps Porzingis, I know his shot was not falling tonight in that first half, but Washington, they kept going to him. They set him up in the mid-post. He was disruptive defensively. Washington was able to get out into the open floor, but he stayed consistent with his attack to the offensive boards, and I thought that was a big difference. But those key threes that were a part of that 20-3 run in the third quarter, I thought that was a big lift for the team because he had not been hitting his shots prior to that.
There was a guy who we were watching tonight who I thought, well, first of all, let me just tell people, look at the stats between these three. 29 out of Brad, Kuz gave you 22, Porzingis gives you 21. All of them shooting over 15 shots from the field, expected.
Right.
2 of them giving you double-digit boards. The one I want to focus on is Kyle Kuzma. At one point, I was like, he might go for 20/20 vision tonight. 22 points, 16 rebounds, Christy. How do you not say this dude is that dude? Like, Kyle Kuzma continued to perform in LA on the night.
Yeah, he's a toughie. I mean, when you can get to the glass like that, I mean, 16 boards for Kyle Kuzma, flying around, getting to the rim. I just love when he plays downhill like that offensively, but I also love his defense. He's all over it, getting blocks, but he sizes up the defense so well, uses his body, spinning, kissing it off the glass. But for Kyle Kuzma to get those rebounds, those are the things that that's just extra.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you don't see from him consistently in terms of having 16 boards, but he's had big rebounding nights. He's had 8, 9, 10 rebounds. So this is not out of his wheelhouse to be strong to the glass like that. But a tremendous, impressive performance tonight by Kyle Kuzma in his rebounding prowess.
What I'm most impressed about him is, like, you know, when you watch it, there are basketball players and there are hoopers, and then sometimes there are dudes who are both. And Kyle Kuzma will do something that, like, that's a hooper move. Like, are you just going to go straight to the rack, turn around, spin on somebody? And then there's the basketball move where you're seeing the high IQ blocks, knowing where guys are in passing lanes, trying to find the assist lane. Like, I love watching him play the game. And again, it's just upsetting that it's in a performance that it comes with a loss. You know, so it is. For the moment, it is what it is. But I want to bring in Chris and Drew and get their thoughts on tonight's performance from the Big Three for D.C., as well as the overall thought about this team moving forward after struggling to get a win in Los Angeles. Drew, the floor is yours. What was your assessment of tonight's match?
This team, they won't fold. They'll fight. They'll compete all the way up until the end. But there's a couple plays, 2 or 3 plays, whether it's at the end of the game or throughout the course of the game, that come back to haunt them. And to me, it was the Austin Reeves, the 2 buckets down the stretch that he made when they were doubling and trapping LeBron James. One time, LeBron shot the ball, and he actually had Austin Reeves right at the goal again for a 3rd opportunity. But I got to tip my hat off for the Wizards coming here fighting. They could have easily folded in that 3rd quarter, scoring 36 points in that quarter to give themselves a chance all the way up until the very end of that last possession where Denny Avdia almost got that steal. But unfortunately, it got in the hands of the wrong man. Once again, LeBron James finding Thomas Bryant ultimately at the rim for the finish.
For me, it's Thomas Bryant hitting some big corner threes tonight. And again, it's the little things. But yesterday, the Clippers have a closer. The Lakers have the ultimate closer, I think, right now, LeBron James. And I'll illustrate something, guys. He had 33 points, 13 of them coming in the 4th quarter. He had a hand in the final 10 points of the Los Angeles Lakers in the last 3.5. He had 9 assists and 0 turnovers. So he was literally out here just doing what LeBron James does, which is he can score, 4th straight game in which he scored 30 or more, but he's also finding his teammates. But from the Wizards standpoint, I'm encouraged by the fight. So glad Bradley Beal is back. Now we can see Beal, Porzingis, and Kuzma, what they can do now. And there's some good news on the horizon. I'll leave it at that, where there could be some healthy bodies, hopefully in Phoenix or Utah. And then we can start seeing this team as a whole. What can they look like? Daniel Gafford, once again, I tip my hat. Guy sprained his ankle, showing some toughness, came back and gave it up for the team. I talked about Anthony Gill earlier in the game. You know, there's some guys out here that are struggling health-wise, but they're out here competing with their teammates, and that's all you can do at this time of the year.
Guys, there was a lineup that I saw, and you talk about people being on the court together. Kuz, KP, Gafford, and Brad. Those 4 in particular. Drew, what do you make of that lineup? Because I know sometimes Coach was switching in the point guard, but those 4 alone, what did you see about them that we could possibly take something positive for and move forward?
Well, Porzingis was struggling shooting the 3 and was missing really hard. I mean, they were coming off hard. Who was there for the offensive rebound and second chance points? Daniel Gafford. It wasn't 4 other guys running the other way while Porzingis shot that 3. I love it for that reason alone, just having another body in the ball game. You saw what Daniel Gafford did down the stretch with those second chance opportunity points. And then just the length. LeBron James, I mean, there was a lot of points in the paint tonight. And whenever you have Daniel Gafford and Porzingis down low in the paint, it's going to be that much harder to finish at the goal. But one thing you have to be mindful of is, especially Daniel Gafford, when you guard in a stretch 4, stretch 5 like Thomas Bryant, you cannot help off strong side shooters. Twice in that game, he helped off of Thomas Bryant in that right corner to help on LeBron James's drive. And it got back to Thomas Bryant, and he was just way too late.
Guys, this is the one thing about this road trip that's really stood out to me. Drew talked about the paint points. I mean, all you got to do is go back to the Denver game. They gave up 98. They gave up 66 tonight. They gave up a lot last night against the Clippers. That's one place where they've got to clean that up as they're getting ready to head to Phoenix and continue this long 6-game road trip.
Hey, Drew, just mentally, being on the team, fighting this hard, what do you think is being discussed right now in the locker room?
I just think getting guys healthy. I mean, this is a lot of wear and tear on bodies. Gafford, Denny Avdia, I tip my hat off to those guys. The only 2 players on this team that played in 31 consecutive ball games this season. Guys are hurting. That's one thing that I'm starting to see, and they're wearing it on their face. But you know what? These are the dog days of the NBA. Nobody feels sorry for you. You got Christmas coming up, and you still have games and work to do on this West Coast trip. So I like to just get these guys back home and really focus on this new year. I mean, clean up what you can clean up in the month of December. Hopefully you can get a couple wins going in the month of January. But the new year is coming, and I like to see all these guys healthy and get on a new track.
Guys looking for health and, of course, looking for another win. Chris and Drew, as always, we appreciate you, gentlemen. On to the next one, as they say. Right now, on this side of things, we're going to go check out head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium after tonight's loss against the Lakers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You just couldn't come up with it. You know, if you fall on it, maybe you get a tied possession, jump ball situation. Ideally, you come away with it, and we have a chance to go down and score. But man, it's no one's fault. You just you don't get the bounce.
And once everyone's out of position, they're trying to get the ball for good reason. How is there any way to defend something like that? I
mean, it's tough because I think everyone's anticipating you're going to get possession, and with the clock running down, no timeouts left, they're thinking we have to get up the floor and go. But we have to secure the ball first, and obviously didn't.
Wes, can you evaluate your guys' defense in the fourth quarter?
I thought we did a lot of good things, honestly. Cross matching, trying to keep 2 bigs on the floor. I think helped rim protection at certain stretches. Certainly helped our rebounding. But being able to do multi-layered things defensively is something in the past we've struggled to do. I think we're showing a lot of growth in that. Whether it's the cross matches, switching with certain matchups, then going to hit the ball or, blitz in situations. It takes a lot of, communication, obviously a lot of moving parts, but I think we've done a pretty good job doing that.
To your point on the rebounding, what was Gaff able to take advantage of and come away with a couple, I think, offensive boards?
Yeah, when Brad's attacking downhill, obviously he's going to garner a lot of attention. So, a lot of times it takes his man out of position and gives him a chance or a free run, to the rim, get those tip-ins, put-back dunks.
And then the 13-0 run in the third, what were you guys able to take advantage of there?
Well, we got some stops, able to get out in transition. I think it kept them on their heels a bit, which allowed us to score early in the possessions. We found a bit of a rhythm, which I thought was good. So, I thought a lot of good things. I mean, the effort was there. I thought we were second night of a back-to-back, able to accomplish quite a bit, get Brad back in the fold. He had a terrific night. See those, 3, Brad, KP, Kuz play at a high level. So a lot of positives, but, it's just there's no consolation prizes.
How would you describe what it was like watching just the last 5 or 6 or 7 minutes? They went up 5 and came back. It was really a seesaw.
Yeah, I mean, that's the flow of the game. It's, you got a veteran, savvy, battle hardened guy like LeBron. He's not going to let the game get out of hand. So we knew we were going to have to maximize our possessions, make sure we're getting shots to the rim, got to get stops. And the fact that we were able to kind of find a combination and a rhythm to keep the game, tight, I thought was great.
I believe you didn't have a timeout there after that scramble play.
Right.
Did you call a play in that huddle just in case they scored? And
Yeah.
was that executed the way you wanted it to be?
No, I mean, it was a broken possession at that point. Had it been a free throw or made bucket, then we would have been able to get set.
You went back to Monte late in the game. What was the rationale?
No, I just, there's a trust factor, of course, from an organizational standpoint. And Jay Good has been really good. I think late game, it's, do you need offense? Do you need defense? Do you need someone to kind of, quarterback guys and get guys to spots? I think we'll use, on any given night, whatever's needed in that moment.
Head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium. On the other side, we're going to have Megan McPeak join us, give her thoughts on tonight's matchup and some things that the Wizards can do to put together some dubs. That's what it's all about, getting back in the win column. We'll have that on the other side when Wizards post-game live returns on NBC Sports Washington. Welcome back to Wizards Post Game Live. Well, we got to give a lot of love to our friend from Latvia, Kristaps Porzingis, eclipsing 7,000 career points for number 6. You have to love it, especially considering he's put up more numbers than almost every other Latvian in the NBA. He's only 460 some odd points away from being eclipsing all of them. But enough is enough with that. Right now, I want to bring in Megan McPeak, who is still in Crypto.com Arena, for her thoughts on tonight's game and how, Megan, this one was this close, but as they say, close but no cigar.
Yeah, and you got to, as Chris and Drew said, you have to tip your cap to this team, because in that third quarter, when the Lakers went on that run, they could have easily folded and called it in and said, you know what, second night of a back-to-back. We still have 3 games left on this road trip. Let's rest some guys, get ready for Phoenix later in the week. But they didn't. They continued to fight. You saw KP, Kuz, and Brad continue to fight on both ends of the floor. And it was just timely buckets from the Lakers when they needed them to sort of stop the momentum that the Wizards were starting to build. And I think you look at those timely buckets, those 2 threes in the corner from Thomas Bryant, obviously, and then, of course, LeBron getting downhill at a timely moment when they needed those buckets when the Wizards were making their run. It just they just is close, as you said. It was so close. But it shows you when you have a team that continues to build back with injuries and you get Brad back in the lineup, it shows you how dangerous they can be. And then as well, credit Daniel Gafford, went down with the ankle injury and managed to fight his way back to continue to be an impact in this game, knowing that they needed a rim runner to contest with Thomas Bryant, who was going up and down the floor tonight.
Megan, a bright spot on the court tonight was that third quarter push that we were all celebrating, because we knew that the Wizards not only needed it, but we saw good things. In the third quarter alone, Kristaps Porzingis had 13 points, would knock down both of his threes from the court that night, and also gave you 5 boards. What do you make about that third quarter run? What do you think was the impetus for it? And is there a possibility to get that stretched into other quarters of the game?
I think it was the ball movement. It wasn't just KP being able to get to his spots. It was the ball movement. And I said to you and Christy in the pregame, you know, look to see if Darvin Ham and his staff look to do what the Clippers did last night in sending doubles on before the catch. And KP didn't, to my knowledge and my eyes, did not get doubled as much by the Lakers as he did by the Clippers last night. So I think it gave him a lot more freedom and a lot more availability on the floor to see what guys were doing and to see how he could find guys off the ball when he didn't have the opportunity to take the shot himself, because that was also something Christy had mentioned in the pregame, was sometimes when you are running the offense through him consistently, it's easy for the defense to defend you guys because they're going to KP. But when you add in Kuz and you add in Brad, it changes things. So the Lakers didn't have the opportunity to double the way that the Clippers did tonight, and they also don't have the same resume of players to defend in doubles the way that the Clippers did last night.
Indeed, when you have those big 3 for DC going for 72 combined points, Christy, we've asked the question, is there anything more they can do? That question is superfluous at this point.
Right.
It's a matter of the others being able to step in and help as well. How do we balance out this roster when you get such proficiency from the top, but you need the bottom to come along as well?
Right. I think you saw great balance again from the Wizards tonight, but you also saw Bradley Beal receive some double teams on that left block a couple of times early on in this game, but he still managed 12 points in the first half alone. But I think when you have the complementary players like a Daniel Gafford, who really came out strong tonight, who really dominated in the painted area, and then you have Jordan Goodwin, who made some great plays and one down the stretch. There are players who are stepping up and making an impact on the game. Monte Morris came in and did what he could do. It's just availability is there for you to step into those moments. But I think getting Bradley Beal back after 10 days of absence, you do have to recalibrate and get your chemistry back with him. And you don't want to just stare at Brad with the ball, right?
Yeah.
You still want to make some moves. But even when Bradley Beal got double teamed, I thought that he facilitated well, as we said that he would, you know, after career numbers in assists last year for Brad with 6 a game. He's able to do that. So it's not that he had to have gaudy offensive production, which he did tonight, but he didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah, indeed.
He has the ability to make plays without scoring the ball, but he happened to score the ball and facilitate well tonight.
One of the guys he was facilitating on that court was Daniel Gafford tonight, Megan. 12 points, 6 for 6 from the floor. Every once in a while, we get a literal perfect game from a Wizard tonight. But I loved his intensity inside, of course, with some big dunks. What do you make of him? Because he also had 5 boards as well.
I think, you know, aside from the foul trouble, because he did get in some foul trouble tonight at timely moments where he would pick up, you know, 1 or 2 fouls back to back and then would have to come out of the game. And that was when he would have momentum as well, too. So I think what he was able to do offensively and defensively, especially with the fact that he was altering shots, when we had the opportunity to see KP and Gaff in the game together, you saw how dangerous they could be on the floor together with altering shots. There was a couple times where you had KP as the front line defender, and then you had Gaff as the second line of defense. So first you have to get past KP with an awkward, you know, unconventional shot because his 7+ foot wingspan alters shots, as I said to you both in the pregame. And then you followed up with Gaff at 6'11", whose wingspan is over 7 foot as well. You have to alter your shot again. And they were also rebounding the basketball. So you got to see a glimpse again of what the Twin Towers together can do on the floor. I think the more they can stay healthy and they can play together, they can be successful down the road because they're starting to figure out how to do it offensively together and how to play off of each other as well.
That's what it's all about, finding a way to get synergy, getting everybody on the same page at the same time. That's how you get wins. Megan McPeak, we appreciate you as always. Thanks so much for the call. Christy, you and I can't go anywhere because on the other side, it is that time of the year. It's all about the season of giving. Yeah, so Anthony Gill, part of this team, loved by the team and the players and the community. We'll have a full feature breakdown on the other side. Wizards Postgame Live returns in a moment. Well, guess what, Wizards fans? The day after the Wizards score 115 or more points, you can get 50% off regular menu price pizzas at papajohns.com with the code WIZ50.
All right.
Yeah, Wiz putting up some points tonight. And you know what? You should really be thanking Daniel Gafford.
You should.
I'm just here to tell you that. But yes, again, use that code WIZ50 for half off regularly priced menus, pizza items at Papa John's. But we also have something else we need to look back into. Ooh, first of all, I just like Daniel Gafford dunking on people. Take a look back at our bold predictions from earlier tonight, brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Remember, go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Christy, I'm going to let you do the honors and read the screen. Tell the people what you see right there.
I see that the crew got it correct. Hello. Yes, sir. 10 of them. 10 of them. Boom, boom.
It feels good to get it right. I just wish we could have gotten one and a win for the team. But it is what it is. It's holiday season, and of course, giving back is the theme of this part of the year. Anthony Gill and his wife, Jenna, of course, partnering with Little Lights. This is something that they've done down in Southeast that sheds a lot of love for the community, and that's what professional sports and just being a good person are all about. And when it comes to being a good person, nobody better than Anthony Gill.
My name is Anthony Gill. I'm with the Washington Wizards. We're here with the Little Lights organization today. Just here trying to give back as much as we can. Little Lights is a faith-based organization. They provide outlets for a lot of different people. Anywhere from little kids, elementary school kids, all the way up to college. We are making stockings, we're having a meal, we've watched a movie, we've answered a lot of questions. We've done a lot today. It's been a fun-filled day, and my family's had a great time.
G-Wiz being here is amazing. Like, my kids are obsessed with G-Wiz, so just like seeing their reactions to G-Wiz as he came in here was so fun.
It's always great to have people that are from the DC community come and spend time with the students, especially someone who's a basketball player, who's athletic. It's just great for the kids to have a chance to interact with anyone that's outside of their normal world and day, so it makes them feel special.
And as a reminder, it's the most wonderful time of the year, and that's right, Wizards fans, it's time to go get your Hoops for the Holidays 3-game ticket pack starting at just $54 for a limited time by using that QR code on your screen. Now, it does include games against the Blazers, Knicks, and Kings, and each package purchased between now and December 19. It includes the Kristaps Porzingis Nutcracker bobblehead, so make sure you reserve yours today. Now, Christy, let's take a look back at some of the best bets from the night using FanDuel, because we make every moment more. If you'd have said Kyle Kuzma's going to grab 12 or more rebounds, woo! That's a plus 550. A $10 bet would have won you $55. Kristaps Porzingis having 4 or more assists, that's plus 240. A $10 bet would have won you $24. So when you look at the big three, Kyle Kuzma, 12 or more boards. At plus 550, he ends up with 16 boards. Christy, It's almost as if Kyle Kuzma says, I'm going to do it on both sides of the court.
Yeah.
I'm going to play 3 levels of basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not just focused on scoring.
Right.
I'm going to do whatever it takes.
As he should, right? Kyle Kuzma is a tough-nosed player, and he's so competitive. We know that, right? But he came in there. Those 16 boards didn't drop to him. He had to work to get those. He was out there doing really tough, competitive business tonight, and I thought that his numbers proved that. But when you're looking at the ability to rebound, that doesn't get lost on me.
Right.
Like, that's not an easy task. That's a want-to part of the game. That's not a have-to part of the game. That's a want-to part of the game. And so he was very strategic in getting those 16 boards, but it's all heart and hustle when it comes to rebounding. It's all heart and hustle when it comes to those possessions necessary for your team to have a chance to win, which Washington did have a chance to win, just fell short right there. And the fast break points, too, I wanted to bring that up. The fast break points, LA had 21 of those, Washington had 14, so it was the pace of play. But they did get out and go, and I think Washington is at their best when they're pushing and moving in the open court.
I'm looking at the combined stats between the big three, Kuz, Porzingis, and Beal. Combined for 72 points, 29 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Right.
These guys combine. It's like when our powers combine. I don't even remember what cartoon that was, but the point is, the combination of them is lethal. Captain Planet. Thank you, thank you, producer Jim.
Is that you?
No, it's producer Jim. Captain Planet, that was cool. They all had heart, wind, fire, earth,
Right. You're right.
And then when our
Earth, wind,
powers
and fire
combine,
for
so
those of us
it's the same question to these guys.
Right.
Looking at how they work together.
Right.
Who's that fourth piece that we can add in there that might be able to continue to put their hand in the pot?
Listen, I'm going with Denny Advia on that. I think he has really come along the last couple of games in particular. I think his confidence is there. I think his aggression is there. And you heard Drew Gooden say, hey, he almost had that steal at the end of the game when he just disrupted LeBron James right there at half court and just really just missed the ball by inches there. Oh, but he is a fighter, and that's what you have to have. I mean, he's hungry. He's a young player. He's in his second season. I think he has the material. I think he has the moxie. I think he has the aggression that's necessary to be that fourth wheel for Washington to get things going and really gain that traction that's necessary right now.
I want him to have it, and I want them to, again, all I care about, I want us to get a win. However we get it done. 5 people, 3 people, 12 people, it's fine with me. But right now, Kyle Kuzma, guy we've been talking about right now, here he is in the post-game locker room. His assessment on Wizards' performance tonight.
It's just unfortunate. You know, sometimes the ball rolls that way in life. You know, not just even basketball. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way and you can play well, or you could be doing great in life and a curveball hits you.
I feel like your team is dealing with this rough stretch in terms of morale, mood, tenacity.
It's very tough. It's a very challenging situation. You know, I think many of us have ever lost 10 in a row, and you know, it's very, very tough. It's very, very tough for sure. Nobody likes to lose, let alone 10 times.
What did you see there in terms of the defensive execution over the final 4 minutes?
A lot of collapses. You know, we had, it was very tough. We were trying to hit Bron and get it out of his hands, and just felt a little bit like he was baiting us a little bit, standing up at half court and just kind of directing things. You know, didn't necessarily make that adjustment, but it's life.
That had Brad back, how did that impact the offense in terms of getting another option?
Oh man, it felt great. Anytime you have Brad, that's another player that the other team has to worry about. And I thought he looked really, really good after not playing for a couple weeks.
Kyle Kuzma in the post-game locker room. If you are in Maryland, FanDuel's now live in Maryland, and you can get $200 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So download the FanDuel app and start making every moment more. Well, we've got more on Wizards post-game live, including Bradley Beal. May we take a trip in the film room?
Yeah. Let's go in there.
You might have to stick around and find out. Breaking it down, Wizards-Lakers recap on NBC Sports Washington. Welcome back to Wizards Post-Game Live. Scottie Pippen in the house tonight. 7-time All-Star, 6-time NBA champion. And oh, by the way, he was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame back in 2010. So enjoying some courtside seats in action along with J.A. Adante behind him as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a trip back in history if you don't mind. Remember on this day.
I do.
Yes, I remember this 1 year ago. Bradley Beal telling Rudy Gobert the elevator goes up one more floor.
The upper room.
Yes, the upper room. Let's get into the film room, though. We asked the people to be patient. Let's pay it off.
Let's go. Bradley Beal. He had 29 points in 32 minutes in his return tonight in L.A. Watch this hard, purposeful cut right to the elbow. He's going to get it, get downhill. The double team's going to shade him in the middle of the court, up the line. At basket level, he's going to reject that action and kiss it off the glass for the contact and one, and it's too small. Push the floor, Brad. And then right here, look, he's going to draw some defense, get downhill. Oh, and then put the brakes on. Bip. Ooh, wee. The mid-range was working for Bradley Beal, especially in the second half. Here's Monte Morris with it. He's going to get it to Daniel Gafford. And watch this handoff action, perfectly timed by Daniel Gafford. It's going to send Bradley Beal downhill. He's going to draw 3 defenders, but look at Gaff. He's like, oh, look over here, honey. I'm wide open for the slam, a momentum dunk for Daniel Gafford and Bradley Beal. Listen, he is a competitor. He makes great reads on the floor, but his efficient play was so impressive tonight. 29 points in 32 minutes. That's what 3-time All-Stars do.
Christy, when you think about Bradley Beal, the last 4 games that he was on the court, excluding the 4 minutes that he went out on the 4th against the Lakers. 25 points against Brooklyn, 33 against Charlotte, 29 against the Lakers this night. We know what Brad can do at this level. My question is now, how does Brad's game elevate the other's game around him? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Well, I think it impacts everyone on the court, obviously. But I think for Bradley Beal, like, he has to be himself, but everyone else does too. So in his absence, everyone's like, well, everyone's got to pick it up. Everyone's got to play at a higher level in his absence to make up for his production. But they can't do that now. Like, everybody still has to play at a higher level. Do you understand what I'm saying? In terms of their effort, in terms of their focus and their energy, their attention to detail, being stars in their role. Bradley Beal's presence on the court shouldn't defer your skill set, right? You should still come and command what you bring to the table night in and night out, regardless of who's on the floor, right? Human nature will tell you, well, Brad's out, I gotta pick it up. Well, listen, Brad's in the game, you gotta pick it up too. Like, you still have to do that, right? There's no time where you're like, well, I'm gonna let him do the work. No, you have to still do your job, and you still have to play at a super high level, regardless of whether he's in the game or out of the game.
And thank you for answering it like that, because that was my question, is like, I just wanted to make sure people understood, yes, his presence does affect those around him, but the expectation is still the same thing.
There it is.
100% of whatever percent, 100% of 100%, that's what you bring. Final score tonight, 119-117. The Wizards fall to the Los Angeles Lakers. You see Bradley Beal, as we just mentioned, 29 points and 3 dimes. Kyle Kuzma with 22 and 16, and Kristaps Porzingis with 21 and 11. And actually, speaking of Kristaps Porzingis, here he is in the postgame locker room.
I don't know what to say. Sucks to be in that situation. And then, yeah, I thought Kuz, had a pretty nice move. Got a pretty good look at a 3. Maybe just rush it just a little bit, but if it went in, it would have been a completely different movie. So, again, nobody wants to be in this position, but we're gonna have to find a way how to dig ourselves out of this.
You mentioned in Miami when you guys kind of right there with the Heat 2 and you lose close that these are the ones that really sting. Does this count as one of those?
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah. No, and I felt like they were not at our level. We just lost the game. They obviously LeBron did his thing and played well, but some mental mistakes from us. And, I don't know what to say. It's tough. But yeah, we're gonna get out of it.
over the mental mistakes you made.
You can see Chris Porzingis wincing in frustration. I completely understand it. He, like all of us on the fan side, looking for a Wizards win. That's what it's all about. On the other side, we're going to come back and get you ready for the Phoenix Suns. That's next up on the Wizards schedule. We'll have it for you when PostGame Live returns. Wiz Suns, December 20th. That's a Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Be here for Wizards Pre-Game Live. But before we do that, Bradley Beal at the post-game podium tonight.
We halftime we're down 12, and we battled back and rallied back, and played our style of hoops. It's unfortunate a few breaks didn't go our way.
How did you feel on the hamstring? Obviously, the numbers looked good.
It was okay. Still getting my wind back. Striking out is still the biggest thing for me. I guess mentally getting over the hurdle of it, but for the most part, I felt fine.
How much does it sting more the way that they got their last basket?
Yeah, it sucked. We can't control that. That happens in the game. We made a good play, good double team on Braun, good deflection. Just didn't come up with it. And sure enough, as soon as we think we got a fast break, TV's the only one up under the basket. So, we just can't make plays up like that. It's just how the chips fell tonight.
Today it seemed like your team got a boost yet again from the KP-Gafford pairing. Why has that been successful when Wes has gone to it?
Why? I don't necessarily know. Besides their presence on the defensive end, their ability, to alter shots and make guards and guys kind of really think about what kind of shot they're shooting, over bigs in the paint, and helps us with rebounding for sure. And then it allows KP to continue to space the floor and pop and gaff the roll, which they both excel at really good. So, I'm pretty sure we'll keep exploring it.
All right, it's Brad Beal. Christy?
Yes.
On to Phoenix. Literally on to Phoenix. Now, we've won one of the last 5s overall, but we've won 3 of the last 5 in Phoenix. How do the Wizards snap this losing streak and get into the dub column?
Well, I think they have to maintain their integrity on the defensive end. And I'm always going to say that because that's where it starts. You can't have pitfalls on the defensive side, especially against a team like Phoenix who loves to push the tempo. But what Washington does well and when they look great is when they are getting stops and pushing tempo themselves. So it's going to be a foot fight, I think, in terms of getting up and down the floor. They've got to do a good job with their defensive transition against this team, because that's what Phoenix loves to do.
And let it fly.
Yeah, let it fly. Knock those threes in.
That's what it's all about. On behalf of our great crew and staff here at NBC Sports Washington, for Christy Winter-Scott and myself, Wes Hall, it is officially early Monday morning, but we'll say enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. We'll see you Tuesday for Wizards Suns on NBC Sports Washington.